First of all, I'd like to say thank you to LSI for organizing such a wonderful meeting. I'm Firas, the founder of Cygnus. I've been an exclusively neurointerventionalist for the last 24 years. Did many cases. In early 2022, I crossed the 10,000 patient mark. In my small subniche subspecialty, this is a significant number. Published many papers, including books, and I have 6 patents. 5 of them is centered on Cygnus. Cygnus is a product of the last quarter century of my life working in endovascular space. So what is neurointerventionalist? It's very much similar to cardiac interventionalists, where they work inside the coronary arteries. Neurointerventionalists work in the spinal, cervical, and intracranial circulation. Not dissimilar from the body interventionalists working in the pulmonary, abdominal, and lower extremity arteries. What all these subspecialties have in common is the need for arterial access to be able to perform the endovascular work. And usually we obtain it from a peripheral artery, such as the femoral in the groin and the radial artery in the wrist. Invariably, the operator will introduce a large bore catheter. It will act like a platform to send the microwire microcatheter, and they will hook it to a hemostatic valve. You see example in the left side of the slide to stop back bleed and flush the guiding catheter. If the operator deemed blood pressure is needed, measurement, they will add a pressure sensor in the side of the table hooked to a separate pole with a saline flush. Here where they divert, in neuro and in the peripheral, we start 2 arterial lines. One to perform the procedure, and the other one is to attach to this pole, to this pressure sensor in the pole, so the patient ends up with 2 arterial access. In the coronary, they use only 1 arterial access, but they hook that pressure sensor, the hemostatic valve, to a manifold. As you see in the diagram in the middle, the guiding catheter hooked to hemostatic valve, and then to manifold with multiple ports. One of them will be attached to this pressure sensor in the right side of the slide and allow only intermittent blood pressure measurement, not continuous. Here come, so what are the challenges here? There are actually 2 significant challenges. One, these hemostatic valves did not turn out to be as good as we thought once. Recent literature in the last 10 years show that 1/3 of this patient who undergo coronary intervention will lose around 8% of their blood, while 1.3 of people who undergo coronary intervention and 4% of the patients who undergo body intervention lose 1/4 of their blood during intervention. There's a big elephant in the room nobody talks about. As you imagine, when you lose 1/4 of your blood on one procedure and lasting an hour or 2, significant clinical complications occur, increased death, mortality rate, increased complication rate, and increased readmission rate. So each readmission will cost anything between $10,000 to $17,000, depends the paper you read. If you know there's 8.2 million cases in the United States in 2023 alone, you can see the astronomical number of the cost just by readmission. The other shortcoming is actually the arterial blood pressure. Either you have to have 2 arterial access, and that's increased risk to the patient and increased cost to the hospital, and there is most importantly increased time. There's almost 10 to 12 minutes time lapse to insert other catheter. In many circumstances, especially in emergency, this is prohibitive. So here comes the Cygnus. Cygnus is the world first, very compacted device that allow further decreased blood pressure to almost 0, thanks to a well-developed, recently developed and patent Cygnus valve at the proximal end of the device, and allow continuous blood pressure measurement throughout the procedure thanks to integrating a pressure sensor. Cygnus is even more than that. It has a air leak valve that allow to have a system which is air-free at all time, and a 3-way stopcock that allow the injection of our materials to replace that cumbersome manifold I just showed you. So we think flying this device, the Cygnus device, into the engine suite will be easy. In the neuro and peripheral group, I call them the early adapter. There's no alternative but to start arterial line with the cost, with the risk to the patient, cost to the hospital, etc. Within this group, there is a smaller group I call the immediate group. Those are the physicians who are dealing with emergencies that there's no substitute to it. We cannot even have time to put arterial line, like thrombectomy for ischemic stroke, something I do every night. And they call there, and nobody will give you 10, 15 minutes just to start arterial line. Time is brain. I just came from the International Stroke Conference 4 weeks ago. We had half day about the importance of arterial blood pressure measurement immediately before, during, and after thrombectomy, and we all agree that it is a problem, and I think Cygnus is a solution. After, just if we calculate these immediate need and we presume 15% penetration rate, it will amount to almost $40 million gross sale in a year, and a 95% gross margin. We aim pricing between $750 to $1,000 per average sale price, since it will still be extremely cost efficient for the system. So this slide shows our planned timeline for planned execution. We are trying to adopt a very capital and time efficient and stage system. Our aiming is to first get this device market ready by having the FDA. In the second quarter of 2024, we like to raise $1.5 million to make it FDA submission. At the third quarter of 2025, we expect to have the FDA, since we think it's going to be straightforward. First quarter 2025, we like to raise Series A for $5 million to have the commercial launch, and then the second Q 2026, we would like to have the global launch, since starting in the fourth quarter 2025, the regional launch in the United States. The device is very well protected, has a 5 total patent. Our regulatory advisor think is going to be straightforward path through the FDA with a 510K pathway with multiple predicate devices and proven equivalency. Also, we have a very strong and illustrious advisory board. Mr. Cullen and Dr. Fischel both are serial Medtech founders. Mr. Christian been a medical engineer for the last 40 years, have 46 patents under his name. Dr. Hedrick is a renowned interventional cardiologist at Cleveland Clinic, and Mr. Boundy is our marketing advisor. In closing, we think time is now to launch Cygnus. There are multiple procedures with unmet clinical need that now start to get into the medical literature that we need these informations. Cygnus does reduce blood loss to almost zero. It increased safety to the patient and is very well protected. The total market is $6 billion in the United States, most $12 million in the world. We have at least for these immediate need and immediate sales, we think for $40 million. We are looking for an investor to join us as a lead investor. Going to be a very exciting journey to change the angio suite flow, make the procedure safer to the patients, simpler to the operating team, and more cost efficient to the hospital. Thank you very much.